guys, welcome to Irish Footy Vlogs and welcome to another Premier Division preview show. We've got a good one this week. We've Derry and Pats fans obviously here, and guess who's meeting this week at Richmond Park? St.Patrick's Athletic and Derry. It's actually the first game on Watch LOI as well, which is great. It doesn't clash with any other games. So an intriguing game. I know from looking around that everyone thinks Pats will win it. That's always very, very dangerous. You know, Derry are not going to lose every week. It's a banana skin in that sense for Pats. On form, you can say Pats, obviously, yes, they're playing a bit better. They look more solid. But as I said, Cian, you know, Derry can't lose every week. This could be the week to get something in a game, couldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Look, we've seen it happen last year as well. I think Derry played Sligo after the restart and got absolutely battered. And, you know, everybody was writing them off when they came up to Richmond and they battered Pats then. So, you know, we see this happening a lot in the league. I'm not as big pushed on it as being a big game or anything like it. I just think Derry have to win sometime. It could very well be against Pats. Pats need to be on it. But I genuinely, if Pats play anyway like they have been playing the last couple of games, I can't see Derry getting a win. Look, albeit whether they get a draw out of it, probably so. But honestly, I just can't see Derry getting 3 points if Pats turn up the way they have been throughout the season.
Yeah, I think the thing with Pats, like without going too much into the last game, but it obviously feeds into this game against Bowls, they actually won that by being functional, to be fair, without being absolutely brilliant or anything like that. So that's something obviously, I suppose, newish compared to last season and maybe the last few seasons. A lot of people are talking about how Pats look like they've added more steel and that. Going into the Derry game, they're going to need that again. But as you say, they're going to have to be honest. We've seen it before that in this league, if you're not honest, no matter who you play and what form they're in, you're going to be beaten. It was interesting, though, that Darragh Burns played wide and Smith played wide. Do you see Darragh Burns actually keeping his place for this game for St. Pat's?
Well, I don't see any reason why he shouldn't. Thought he was superb in the game and he was great when he came on against Drogheda. Look, he's a young lad. He's probably up there with the brightest future in the League of Ireland in terms of players. So there's no reason why he shouldn't be playing. And I'd love to see him in the squad. This fella has gone right to the top. And, you know, it's brilliant to have him at Pats. And, you know, seeing him in the squad and, you know, I was absolutely delighted seeing him in the squad on Saturday because you see these lads and you see how hard they work. And I've watched Darragh Burns the last couple of seasons and he's just been immense. And, you know, him and Ben McCormick, especially in the 19s league, absolutely turning it up. So it's great to see the two of them. Darragh breaking into the side means an awful lot to myself as a Pats man. Like it would be for you, JP, the local Derry boy, you know, making it in. It's absolutely brilliant and I'm delighted to see him playing. I would start him because he didn't put a foot wrong the other day. Thought he was excellent. And look, in Drogheda, it doesn't matter whether another player that would have come on could have had that cross fair enough. But, you know, he changed the game when he did come on. He got the assist for the goal in the last minute against Drogheda. So no reason why. I just think Pats look more settled a little bit. In terms of the squad, if you were to put the Derry side down and the Pats side down, but you have to be bang at it because, you know, if you're not bang at it, Derry are getting 3 points there, and that's how tight this league is. You know, just really, let's be honest, apart from throw form out the window, like Pats and Derry are on par with each other. I would say Pats probably have the better the squad just about, but like there's not a million miles in the difference, and I think that goes right through the league. Derry can play Rovers tomorrow and get a draw, and yet they can lose to, I won't say Finn Harps, so I'd say Sligo or something. Do you know what I mean?
You can mention Longford because they did lose to Longford, perhaps.
Yeah, but you know, I just looking on the season, I'm not impressed with Derry. Really not impressed with how they're playing. And I don't know, JP, if you were listening to us the other day, I was watching the game, and when I seen Waterford gone 1-0 up, I was saying to myself, right, Derry aren't going to win this. Whether they get a draw, okay, but I don't think they're going to win it. I couldn't see them scoring 2 goals. And I think that's a little bit of a worry considering you have Parkhouse. So I know he's not getting the service with another thing, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that now.
Yeah, JP, yeah, that's a good point. We'll go on to you now as well there. I mean, obviously Derry played better, didn't they, against Waterford than they did against Longford. What do they need to do now to improve to go into the Pats game? Is there anything specific that you noticed that needs to improve, or just is it a collective team effort as such?
They have to start by cutting out the mistakes at the back, because they've conceded 4 goals in 2 games, and I think 3 of them have come from errors. Like, I know Griffin scored a good free kick, but it came from giving the ball away in their own half. So they have to start by getting the basics right at the back. We did improve. It was an improvement from the Longford game, but I don't think there was any creativity as such. It was more huff and puff. Really, he looked the chance Patchen had. It came from a slip by a defender, and Malone raced on it, and Patchen put it over bar. But I thought Derry were the better team before Waterford scored, because Derry had quite a few chances. I know they didn't. It didn't come from creativity. It came from mistakes, because there was one chance Lafferty had an open net. He's rushed the strike, like he's got it all wrong. I don't blame him for taking the strike early. But again, that came from defender clearing it while the goalkeeper was coming out. Another thing we have to improve is the final third. There's no movement at all. There's no creativity. There doesn't seem to be somebody getting on the ball in between the midfield and the attack and making things happen.
Who should be that man in your opinion? Who's the creative force do you feel in Derry's midfield, or who should be?
Well, I thought it was going to be Patchen or the likes of Fitzgerald. I thought it was going to be one of them two. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to judge them after 2 games. I thought I seen a wee bit more from the 2 of them the other day, but against St. Pat's, they need to do a wee bit more, especially if they want to even get a draw in this game. I disagreed with Keane, and he said that Waterford took a lead. He didn't see Derry won it. I didn't see us winning the game anyway, but the way we had played up to that point, I thought we were the better team, and I just thought if we could get a goal before half time, it would really set us up. And we did that, and we came out and we missed a good chance to Fitzgerald. They had it wide, and then a defensive mistake puts the goalkeeper under pressure, and he makes an absolute stupid tackle. But look, it's things that people will, as he hasn't played often in the last 2 years, so it's things like that he'll iron out of his game. I've no doubt. But after that, it was just more Waterford were just hoping to sit in and get the result, and they did. But in saying that, Brian Murphy made 2 good saves. Patchen fired over. Lopano headed one. I think Murphy might have tipped it onto the bar. So there was positives to take out of the Waterford game, but there's going to have to be, we improved from Longford to Waterford, but we're going to have to improve even more from Waterford to St. Patrick for even to get a draw out of it.
Do you think Derry will get something out of it?
I want to think so, but I have no real confidence. I think we need to, because if we don't, the pressure's going to be really, really on, because the next game after that is Shamrock Rovers at home. And I fear if we don't get anything out of St. Pat's game, I really do, not just fear for us, but I fear for the manager as well, because he's coming under a lot of pressure from the fan base, from certain elements of the fan base, not the whole fan base. And but at the same time, he's 2 games into a 5-year plan that was set out by the board. Is he under pressure from the board? Only the board will know that. But at the same time, he has to get results, and if he doesn't get results, then ultimately the axe could fall. And I hope we do get something out of this game, and not only that, we get a performance. Like I would like to see us get a draw from it. But if we get a draw but play bad, I don't really think that's progress. But if you play really well and you're coming away thinking, God, we could have won that, we had done this bit better. But because if he doesn't get a win on Friday night, he's going to really have to get one against Shamrock Rovers. And it's 2 games that you didn't want coming up. These are 2 games that you didn't want coming up after 2 games that you felt that you against teams that you really probably should be beating.
True. Keane, I'd sense Derry might nick a point in this one, maybe 1-1. What are you saying?
I'm going to go for a Pats win. I just think I can't see Derry winning the game. and I can't see them bombarding the goal either. You know, I think they'd be delighted to come back with a point. So, you know, it'd be all about Pat's creativity. Can we create enough? Can we get enough chances into the box? And, you know, I think against Drogheda we've done that. A team that we had to break down. We did break them down. We just need to finish them shots. And Bowes, probably the game could have went either way. So, you know, I'm going to say Pats will have enough to break a team down. We've shown the hard, like we're going to get an awful lot of the ball. I would presume in this game, and you know it's all going to be about how Derry can contain Pats. I personally think, anyway, look, Derry will definitely have their chances. They'll definitely have probably 2 chances in the game, 2 or 3 big chances that, you know, if they stick one away, great, make a game of it. But I'd be a little bit worried that, you know, Derry are going to be sitting in tight, and, you know, Pats might lose it a little bit, and, you know, Derry can push on and get one on the counter. That's my issue. But I'm going to say Pats, and I'm going to say 2-0.
2-0 Pats. Dundalk and Bowes at Oriel Park, actually, later on, 7:45. This is a very interesting game because both teams are struggling, and if somebody loses this match, JP, I don't want to say, it's early in the season, don't want to be saying pressure, but you're talking about top 4 here. You don't want to be falling behind either. How do you see this one going?
Very interesting. Again, it's Derry, Dundalk, Bowes. They haven't got a win in their opening 2 or 3 games. So I think this is a must not lose for both teams this game. The same way probably Derry is against St. Pat's. I watched the Shamrock Rovers game last week against Dundalk, and Alan Manus was my man of match. I know Ronan Finn got the commentary man of match, but Alan Manus was my man of match. He kept Shamrock Rovers in front in that second half, so he did. And it was a tale of 2 keepers because Dylan Watts took a pop shot from about 30 yards and it went in the net.
Manus is saving that, isn't he?
Exactly, because he had saved a couple from point blank range before that, and even after that as well. So it was a tale of 2 keepers, really. That one keeper who was a spectator for about 10 or 15 minutes before that wasn't able to step up the mark when he was needed, where Alan Manus was just like an octopus all night. Dundalk, I think there's pressure on both teams because both these teams were tipped to be going for the challenge and definitely for the top 3. I think there's probably a wee bit more pressure on both because a lot of people I don't think people were expecting much from Dundalk because of the lot of changes they've made in the squad. But they probably were expecting them to see them not start the way they've done. And let's be honest, if it wasn't for the disallowed goal in the last minute against Sligo, they wouldn't even have a point as well to start the season. So I think it's a must not lose for both these teams. But the way Dundalk played against Shamrock Rovers, I think they're going to win this one.
Yeah, both winless, Cian, actually, so far this season. JP finished off with a good point there. There's a lot more good I see in Dundalk at the moment than Bohemians because of the way they created so many chances against Shamrock Rovers. No other team in the league's creating that many chances against Shamrock Rovers. I know it just falls in Dundalk, but if you look at the positives there, that's the case, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think Dundalk, I know a lot of us League of Ireland people would have been saying, we don't know who are going to get in, we don't know these players and stuff like that, what they're going to look like. But the owners and the board are bringing these players in. Like, these aren't coming to Dundalk and, you know, to make up numbers. They're not coming over here to, you know, finish top 4 maybe. You know, these are going to win the league. And it was a real statement bringing in the players that they did, because I'm saying the money that these players are on, especially, like, you know, these would be on big wages. They're coming from top teams around the world, you know, around Europe. Like, it's a hard one to call. It's like, you know, if we were looking at the fixtures beforehand, we'd be saying which one is going to get the edge on the late, which one is going to be the edge on the top of the table. This is an early game for that. And, you know, you're looking at it now and it's 2 teams at the bottom, but look, there's a long way to go. Them 2 teams will not be there towards the end of the season. I fancy Bowes to win this. I just think they're at home, I just think they need, to win it, and they need a big performance, and that'll get their season going. We've seen Bows now, and they haven't messed up. They haven't. Look, you could say probably since Europe last year, they probably haven't hit the heights they wanted to. But before that, like, they've gone 3-4 years absolutely consistent and getting Europe, and that was even overachieving at the time for the squad they had. So I'm going to say Bows, because I think they're going to get themselves back on track here, and a big performance is needed. So that's why I'm saying Bows. So I just think Keith Long, I'd have more faith in Keith Long getting a performance out of the players than I would Shane Keegan or Filippo, or you know what I mean. So that's my only reason, and I just think on that day, Bows, if they can play, they're very hard to stop.
Yeah, I agree. I think Keith Long's a better manager, but I just think I have a feeling that Dundalk might pinch this one with the way they create chance against Rovers, to bring some of that into this game. On Saturday, Finn Harps take on Waterford. Again, all these games are on at 6 o'clock, which is frustrating. But anyway, Finn Harps take on Waterford. Yeah, the last time they met, Waterford actually got kicked out of Europe, essentially, when Finn Harps beat them 1-0. Harps are on a great run. 7 points from 9. Waterford have picked up a little bit in terms of the performances. I think this one might be tight. What do you think, JP?
Yeah, what I've seen of I've seen Waterford's 3 games this year, and each performance they've got better and better. Now against Derry, they allowed Derry to have the ball, but that's because they probably realised that Derry didn't have a lot in them. They do them any damage, so they just sat in and contained Derry. They got their goals and whatnot. I don't think they'll be able to do that against Finn Harps, because, as I say, Finn Harps are on a good run of form. But Finn Harps have a different element to their game as well. They can lump it into the box, and big Adam Foley's there. And not only that, they can create goals on the counter attack, as we saw against Dundalk. I think if Waterford take the same game plan as they did against Derry, I don't see them getting anything out of this game. I think they're. And then again, they might go a wee bit more on the front foot because they're playing Finn Harps. And the win against Derry will no doubt give them confidence going into this game. But at Finn Park, I think you have to fancy Finn Harps.
Yeah, they definitely have some good footballers, Keane, don't they, Waterford? But Finn Harps still, at this minute in time, look more of a team to me. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, I think Finn Harps will win this. Can't see past them, to be honest. Look, Waterford are performing every week. I think maybe in 10, 12 games' time, we might have a different story on this game. We might have a different prediction. But I'm going to say Finn Harps to win it. I just feel like they'll have enough to win it. And look, they'll continue their great start. And, long may it continue for Harps, because, the work that's been put in, being the lesser team all the years, this is their chance now to shut a lot of people up. And, I'm going to say Finn Harps to win this. And, I'm probably going to say 2-0. I feel like they'll win it. And, I think it'd be comfortable. Even if it's 1-0, I think it'll probably be comfortable, if you know what I mean. I can't really see Waterford scoring against this Finn Harps team.
Yeah, I think they might surprise if you nick a point here. Anyway, on to Longford and Drogheda. This is the battle of the teams that got promoted, and they're both locked in 4 points as well. They'll both be very happy, actually, with their start so far this season. Drogheda getting the point, coming from behind to get a point at Finn Harps, which is not easy to do. Longford, they put in a good battling performance against a very strong Sligo team, so even in defeat, they can take something from that. I don't know, it's another game, JP, that might be hard to separate the sides, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. They both got points that they probably wouldn't have expected to get at the start of the season. And fair play to them for doing that. I never seen the Longford game against Sligo, but they were only beaten by a goal to nil. And the way I've seen Sligo and the way they've started, and if you're only losing 1-0 to Sligo, then you must have put on a very good performance. Drogheda, I watched their game against Waterford in the opening game, and as the game went on, they improved as the game went on. They were unlucky against St. Pat's, conceding in the last minute, and they got a good point against Finn Harps, because as we know, Finn Harps is no longer an easy game. But it was no doubt probably the game that Tim Clancy would have pinpointed of getting something from, rather than the previous two games. But this is going to be key, because this is going to show one of these two teams where they're really at, in terms of their season. It's not going to define their season, but it could be a wee bit of a pinpointer as to how well they have actually started. They've gone and picked up points that they wouldn't have expected, that they probably would have hoped for rather than expected. But no doubt these two teams will be looking to get the 3 points, because if they do, then it gives them a good footing for the rest of the season.
How do you see it, JP? Draw.
I'm going to go Drogheda.
Drogheda. Keane, one thing there actually, JP, I kind of picked up on something there that I noticed with Drogheda as well in the 3 games they've played. Their fitness levels are very high, because they did finish strongly against Waterford. They finished actually strongly against Harps as well. And even though Pat scored in the last minute, they did kind of give Pats problems in around that time of the game as well. So clearly their fitness levels are very good there, Drogheda.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that fitness levels right across the league is good. I don't think it's only Drogheda. I think we've really, as a league, have really set the bar very high in terms of fitness. And like you've seen like so-called part-time players, and these players are athletes. These are a lot of these players are in better condition than the Dublin team and stuff like that. And I think, they really are, and it's a credit to them, because I always admire someone that looks after themselves, and I'm looking at especially part-time players, especially looks at Drogheda and stuff. When you're working full time and then you're training in the evenings and all, it's very tough. So to see what they've built there, and I really hope Drogheda are here to stay, because I love going to Drogheda away. I love the shed. It's definitely not the prettiest of away games, but there's just something about that shed on a Friday night that gets all the Pats fans going, and every fan in the league, I think, likes going there. But I personally think Drogheda will actually be a little bit disappointed that Longford are on the same points as them going into this game. I think, I don't want to put Longford down or anything or what they're doing is fantastic, but I think Drogheda probably have visions of seeing themselves finishing in the top 7, finished in 7th, and they'd be happy with that. So I think you need to get away from, let's say, Longford, and you need to get away from, like they probably would have been before the season, aiming to get 3 points off Harps as well. So, I think Longford would be delighted with the 4 points, but I think Drogheda, on the other hand, will be disappointed. And I'm saying that, look, come from behind to score against, to draw against Finn Harps, and then coming from behind to nearly get a point against Pats, just be beaten in the last minute. The performances are really, really encouraging. They're not there yet, but they're not a million miles off either. But I just think they'll be more disappointed, actually, that they're going in level on points with Longford. That's just me now, personally thinking, because you'd want to be higher, yourself. I think Longford have Drogheda have kind of set a bar for teams coming up, and the signings they brought in, a bit of a statement. So they need to start picking up points now to back that up, I think. I fancy Drogheda to win this. It's not going to be easy. I think there might be a couple of goals in this as well. But, I fancy Drogheda to nick this. And look, I think I can't commend Longford enough for how they're playing either. But this is actually a really, really good game and a really tough one to call. But I'm just picking Drogheda.
Yeah, I'll have my phone on airplane mode on Saturday as well. I don't know which game I'm going to pick. Well, We'll get on to it next. I have to pick that one, I
I'm
suppose.
taking the other one.
I think this will be a draw, actually, but another draw, for God's sake. But Longford are a bit of a bogey team for Drogheda. They haven't beaten Longford since 2018, even though they've been in the same league. So that's something like 10 fixtures or something like that. So, if they win, that would be a monkey off their back as well. But onto the Rovers derby, I suppose we could call it, two unbeaten teams. There's a bit of slagging going on, I see, on social media during the week as to who the real Rovers is, etc. Well, they've a chance to prove themselves here on Saturday night. This is going to be a good game. Sligo Rovers, Shamrock Rovers, regardless of whether you think it's a title contender match, whatever, they both play good football. JP, could be in for a treat in this one, couldn't we?
Yeah, I think this is the match of the weekend, isn't it? Well, it's going to be the match on Saturday. I think anybody that's not watching their own team is probably going to be tuned into this game.
Yeah.
And I know I certainly will be. In terms of Battle of the Rovers, for me, I think there's only one Rovers, and it's Shamrock Rovers, isn't it? Because growing up,
comments are going to be
growing up throughout the League Ireland, anybody that ever referred to Rovers, you know that they were talking about Shamrock rather than Sligo. But look, it's a debate that I enjoy being a neutral, and it's definitely not a debate that I'd want to be involved in. But look, I don't think it's going to be a title game. You can't say that early on, but it's definitely a chance for Sligo to lay down a marker in their credentials for the season. If Sligo can come out of this game with a win, then it'll be a massive statement. And who knows what they can get from it from the rest of the season. But I think Shamrock Rovers, they know themselves that they got over the line. They just about got over the line against Dundalk. So they know themselves that. But I think against Dundalk, they were missing Roberto Lopez because he had a quarantine. I'm not sure if he's back yet, but you saw that without him in the back line, that he can be got at and you can get chances against them. And I think that if he's not there this week and they play like they did, if Sligo, I think, get the chances that Dundalk got, I think Sligo could get something out of this game.
So how are you seeing it? A draw?
Yeah, I'm going to go a draw, yeah.
Cian, how do you see it? Match of the weekend, surely, yeah?
Match of the weekend, no question about it, followed by Bows and Dundalk, I think. It's a tough one to call.
They all are.
I think both sides were probably, like, listening to Liam Buckley's comments last week. I think both sides won the games last week, of course, but I think they were actually disappointed with the performances, both teams. So, it's a big one now this week to really, step it up a notch. If you win ugly, great. But
it's psychologically, Cian, setting them up, knowing that they've got Shamrock Rovers and Sligo Rovers on the horizon as well, is it? As in, geez, lads, if we don't play well in the next game, you know what I mean? We're losing.
Yeah, you can't say that, but if you don't play well against the bottom teams, you're going to be beat, and that's the way it is. Like, I just, it's so tight, and there's nothing between each side. So, it's very hard to call this game. I haven't been impressed with Shamrock Rovers starting off so far. I really haven't. Look, they're coming good. I think Mandrew played really well against Pats. He played well the other night as well. That's positive. I think Chris McCann isn't the worst either. He's going to get around the pitch. I really think they're crying out for Richie Towell. If you could get him tomorrow, I think he'd be playing. And that's the truth. I think they're crying out for that midfielder to just take the ball, that Aaron McInnes that's going to get on the ball and it's going to get fans off the seats, So I think they're crying out for Richie Towell at the minute. But, if they can keep themselves, I always say, keep yourselves up there till the break. And then after the break, you need to start kicking on to get into position there for the league. But, if Rovers keep themselves up there, they don't necessarily have to be top. But if they can keep themselves in the mix, I think with the likes of Richie Towell, like, I can't see any team bringing in a player of his caliber or anything like it in the window. So I'm looking at the game. I'm saying Sligo will be up for it. I think Sligo will be going into it on better performances than Shamrock Rovers. So I'm gonna go for Sligo here because Now, the only reason I'm going for them really is because I've been more impressed with them when I'm watching them. And I don't know whether that's because Rovers were champions last year and we've seen them steamroll it to this year. They're not going to steamroll us, so maybe that's effective. But I just think I'm more impressed with Sligo. And if Pat's were to play a team tomorrow, I'd pick Shamrock Rovers all day long over Sligo.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you there. But I'm going with Shamrock Rovers. I have a feeling they'll come into this game and say, look, we need to lay down a statement here because people are saying they don't look great so far. And I agree with you. Sligo Rovers do look better so far, but it's a typical type of game where Shamrock Rovers might look at it and say, look, these guys think they might be title contenders. Let's just kind of show them who's boss here. I sense Rovers might nick it there. So guys, we'll leave it there. Please like the video, subscribe if you're new, hit your bell notification button so you don't miss a video. And thanks very much as usual, guys.